Hey, wait. Paulie Malignaggi dissing Ryan Garcia and taking up for Shakur Stevenson? What is the world coming to? Roll the clip.
This guy was criticizing Shakur Stevenson.
Here at Twitterson. Nah, but like for real though?
Shakur Stevenson fought an opponent that was probably 50 times better than the guy Ryan Garcia fought tonight. Ryan Garcia played it fully safe. He got the stoppage at the end only because Oscar Duarte quit. All right, bro. I mean, that fight was not beaten out of Oscar Duarte. Was he very limited? Absolutely. That's why De Los Santos is about 50 times better than Duarte. You know, you're going to criticize the way Shakur Stevenson fought Stevenson fought De Los Santos, and then you're going to fight the Oscar Duarte, who's a borderline fringe journeyman contender like this in a safety first way. Like you're scared, like you're completely scared. You give him that much respect. First of all, Oscar Duarte is a guy who has to get to you before he punches. So he doesn't understand how to punch his way in. He's one of these guys where he is going to only punch if he gets to you. But he doesn't even use a jab. So on his way through that front door, you can meet him with all kinds of punches. All kinds of punches.
That was Paulie Malignaggi, and he was recapping Ryan Garcia criticizing Shakur Stevenson. And he was actually taking up for Shakur Stevenson. And if you know Paulie's track record and his past, to me, that's a bit surprising that he was taking up for Shakur Stevenson and slighting Ryan Garcia. But allow to break down what he said. Now, there's aspects of it that I definitely agree with. For one, the biggest one is I do think Edwin De Los Santos is a better fighter than Oscar Duarte. So we agree there. Because if you notice on my channel, I keep it real. So I told you, I didn't even really know who Oscar Duarte was until he was linked to Ryan Garcia. I mean, I had seen him on an undercard with Alexis Rocha, but I wasn't really paying attention to him. That's what I mean. I didn't have extensive viewing knowledge of his past fights. So I had to go back and do some homework, and I really didn't see it. I didn't really understand why people were saying that Oscar Duarte was definitely the guy to upset Ryan and knock him out, things like that. So me and Paulie Malignaggi agree there that Edwin De Los Santos is definitely a better fighter, because I've studied Edwin De Los Santos's fights and I watched him live in real time and knew exactly who I was looking at and watching, right? So a bit different. Now, Paulie Malignaggi, he does tend to exaggerate, in my opinion. What do I mean? I mean, he's saying the guy is 50 times less and Edwin De Los Santos is 50 times greater. It's not really a way to quantify that. The bottom line is, like, I'm more linear. He's a better fighter. But when you start putting percentages on it, I don't like when people do that. Like, they'll try to make a point and then they'll make up some fake statistic, like 97% of the people thought that Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder. Like, where did you get that statistic from? Where there's no poll that interviewed 97% of people saying that Wilder lost and Tyson Fury won the first fight. You see what I'm saying? So I don't really deal with the, you know, these big exaggerated numbers, like he's 50 times greater. So that means Edwin De Los Santos, if he fought 50 dudes, you know, his ratio would be this and Duarte's would be that. I mean, it's just this little bit hard to qualify. But we do agree that Edwin De Los Santos is a better fighter. Now, the difference is where me and Paulie in his assessment differ is I like to focus on all the facts. And here, like, I don't know how everybody else breaks down boxing, but I'm gonna exactify and like tell you guys how I break it down. And the reality is this: the reason Shakur Stevenson has garnered so much backlash from his performance with Edwin De Los Santos is based on who he is supposed to be, his strong suits, his skill set, his demeanor before the fight, his talking, all of that wrapped in one. When you're talking about Ryan Garcia, for me, why would I be as critical on a guy who most people have stated has flaws? That's one. Two, he's coming off of a loss, not just a split decision or majority decision loss, but he's coming off of a knockout loss. So why would we be as stringent and such like nitpickers for a guy coming off a knockout loss, switching trainers, and moving up in weight, as opposed to Shakur Stevenson, where none of those factors exist, right? He's not switching trainers. He had his grandfather or whoever in the corner. He was the favorite, right? He is not coming off of a loss. He's an undefeated fighter. And when leading into the fight, Shakur Stevenson was thought to be well superior in terms of skills to Edwin De Los Santos. And the fight was really slow paced and about even. So that's what I'm not understanding about Paulie Malignaggi's breakdown, quote unquote, defending Shakur and bashing Ryan Garcia. They're different fighters, different career points. And then when you factor in, and this is what separates me from a lot of boxing commentators, I do this every single day. You know, Paulie could be like, I box and you're not a boxer, you're not a pro fighter. I don't care. I do this every single day. I know what's going on. I watch all the pertinent fights, etc. Right? I make my assessments based on all of the knowledge that I have. And again, why would I expect such highly of a flawed fighter like Ryan Garcia coming off a loss, switching trainers? And you have to factor in all of the things. Like, he's beefing with B-Hop. He's beefing with Oscar De La Hoya. He feels like they set him up and they're out against him. None of this was the case for Shakur Stevenson. So when we're looking performance versus performance, they're two different fighters, two different skill sets, and none of this existed for Shakur Stevenson. He didn't have beef with Bob Arum and like going in and not talking to Bob Arum and all this type of stuff that Ryan. So Ryan had a lot of pressure. So I factor all these things in to my breakdown. No different than Jermall Charlo. When I break down Jermall Charlo's last fight with Jose Benavidez, it is not of that of a man who has been an active fighter fighting 3 or 4 times a year. It is that of a man who has been broken by things outside of the ring and been out the ring for 3 years, etc. Like Ricky Hatton, he retired after the Pacquiao loss or whatever. Why would I judge him coming back to the dude he fought, Svanchenko or whatever? Why would I judge him based on before he fought Floyd Mayweather when he's been out the ring 2-3 years? You know, or if Manny Pacquiao, I believe, if Manny Pacquiao decides to come back right now, you know, he's been out the ring. So you have to factor that into your breakdown. And I think that's what people aren't understanding. And regardless of those things that I just said, Ryan's fight was more entertaining than Shakur Stevenson's fight, period. I don't care what anyone says. When I watch fight A and fight B, Ryan had the more entertaining fight, which was part of the main criticism that Shakur Stevenson got, including Ryan Garcia post-fight when he was calling him Shakira Twitter, saying he was like, this man, him and De Los Santos combined for like a record-breaking low amount of output punches thrown in a fight. And he said that's hard to do. So regardless of what you think of Ryan and Duarte, it doesn't change the fact that that was Shakur's fight. Another thing is, when you have Ryan's style and Duarte, usually the guy who has a bit more boxing intangibles will revert to more of a boxer, even if in their fights, normally they're more aggressive. Think Ruslan Provodnikov, Lucas Matisse. Matisse could box a bit more, he won the fight, right? John Molina, when he fought Ruslan Provodnikov, he boxed a bit more, even though they're known punchers. One person, it's like in a slugfest with someone with equal power, then one person has to bring out and bring out the boxing skills. You see what I'm saying? But with Shakur Stevenson, stylistically, southpaw, technical guy, and what he's illustrated himself to be, he should have been able to tame the bull, Edwin De Los Santos, a lot better. Think Mayweather versus Maidana. When Mayweather has a rugged guy like a Maidana coming at him, I mean, he looks surgical, and he doesn't look fearful of the punches. You know what I mean? So I don't really understand fully the comparison in terms of what Paulie Malignaggi is trying to accomplish with Ryan Garcia. Different fighters, different styles, and different career arcs and points of their career, period. Ryan was up against his promoter, beefing with him, lost to Tank Davis, Fans wrote him off. I mean, it's just in completely different perspective. That's like, would you compare Terrence Crawford's career arc to that of Robert Helenius? I mean, he failed a PED test. He's off of back-to-back knockouts, Wilder and Joshua. They're in two different spaces of their career. So why would I hold Robert Helenius to Terrence Crawford's, like, to a Terrence Crawford level? You see what I'm saying? For me, that doesn't really make sense because each fighter is his own. But for Crawford, I expect greatness out of Crawford based on who he's supposed to be and where we rank him. It's just how it goes. And that's all sports. If you're the Jackie Robinsons and the Hank Aaron's, the Babe Ruth of your sport, the Barry Bonds, the Mark McGuires, you know, the Kobe's, the LeBrons, the expectations are clearly going to be greater. So I thought Ryan performed solidly, definitely not flawless, turning his back, the makeshift great value shoulder roll. There were some things that he needs to shore up, but all things considered, I didn't think it was such a bad performance. So I find myself agreeing with elements of what Paulie said, but not fully. Shakur Stevenson, people expected more from him. That's why the rage. That's why you're getting this rage. He seems very uncomfortable with awkward style punchers that are unpredictable, and his offense falls off a cliff. That's completely different. Ryan Garcia, again, coming off a loss, different pressures, people writing him off, and he was in there with somebody who he says can punch. So yeah, you could say, oh, he paid him too much respect or whatever. But at the same time, I think it was deeper than just the fight. He don't want to make no mistake. He got a brand new trainer. He don't want to make no mistakes because he feels De La Hoya and B-Hop will get the last laugh and they're out to get him in his promoter beef and stuff like that. So I think in fights like where it's like that, where the tension is high, nobody wants to make a mistake. And I think that's more so what we got from Ryan. The collective of being in a new weight class with a brand new trainer, feeling you have to make a statement, feeling that your promoter is out to get you. All these things rolled in one is why Ryan kind of fought how he did. You know what I mean? And if he continues to fight exactly like that after he has 3 fights with Derek James or something like that, then that's completely different. But I'm judging this performance based on all the data that I have. So it's really hard to compare to undefeated Shakur Stevenson, who said he was going to blow out Edwin De Los Santos. Subscribe to my channel. It's free. Church.